By 1882, John D. Rockefeller controlled 90% of America's oil. What happened next wasn't what you'd expect. The Standard Oil Company didn't emerge from genius alone. It emerged from ruthlessness, vertical integration, and a market nobody yet understood. In the 1870s, oil refining was chaotic, hundreds of small operators competing on price, margin, survival. Rockefeller saw inefficiency as opportunity. He consolidated refineries, cut costs, and undercut competitors until they had no choice but to sell to him. By the 1880, Standard Oil wasn't just dominant, it was a monopoly. Rockefeller controlled shipping, pipelines, storage. He negotiated rebates from railroads, squeezed suppliers, and made deals competitors couldn't match. The company's profit margins swelled. Wealth accumulated not through innovation alone, but through control of distribution. That distinction matters. The government eventually noticed. Antitrust litigation mounted through the 1890 and early 1900. In 1911, the Supreme Court ordered Standard Oil dissolved into 34 separate companies. Rockefeller was 62 years old and already the wealthiest man in America. The breakup didn't impoverish him, it redistributed his assets. He owned shares in all the new entities. Here's where the narrative pivots. Rockefeller had accumulated roughly $900 million, more than $30 billion in today's currency, yet he was uncomfortable with it. Not morally troubled precisely, but aware that vast concentrated wealth attracted scrutiny, resentment, and questions he couldn't easily answer. He began to think about legacy differently. In 1882, before the antitrust battle, Rockefeller had already begun giving. He donated to Baptist churches, universities, and missionary work, but the scale was small relative to his wealth. After 1911, he shifted strategy. He established the Rockefeller Foundation with $250 million, an unprecedented sum. The goal was systemic change, public health, medical research, agricultural advancement. The foundation didn't distribute charity haphazardly. It funded research into diseases like hookworm and malaria. It supported the development of improved crop varieties. It built medical schools and public health infrastructure in the American South and internationally. The approach was structural, targeting root causes rather than symptoms. Wealth became a tool for institutional reform. His children inherited not just money, but a template. John D. Rockefeller Jr. expanded the foundation's reach. He funded the restoration of Williamsburg, Virginia. He supported the League of Nations. He donated land for the United Nations headquarters in New York. The second generation inherited wealth and a philosophy. Capital could be deployed toward permanent institutional change. By the mid-20th century, the Rockefeller family had given away more than $1 billion. Museums, universities, medical centers, and research institutions bore their name. Yet the family remained extraordinarily wealthy. Philanthropy didn't deplete the fortune, it reframed it. Wealth became less about personal accumulation and more about dynastic influence through institutions. The mechanics of this wealth transfer reveal something crucial about how great fortunes sustain themselves. Rockefeller didn't simply hoard capital. He converted it into cultural and institutional power. Foundations, endowments, and named buildings create permanent structures that carry a family's influence across generations, long after the original wealth maker dies. Standard Oil's dissolution didn't weaken the Rockefeller position, it transformed it. The family moved from monopoly control of a single industry into diversified ownership of financial systems, cultural institutions, and philanthropic infrastructure. Wealth became less visible, but arguably more durable. That's the business model most large fortunes follow today. The Rockefeller story isn't one of ruthless accumulation followed by redemptive charity. It's the story of how concentrated wealth transforms itself into institutional permanence. The fortune built through monopoly control became a foundation for dynasties of influence. Understanding that mechanism, how capital converts to power, and how power perpetuates itself, matters for anyone studying how wealth actually works. This video is for educational and informational purposes only and is not financial advice. Always do your own research. Subscribe to explore how the world's greatest fortunes were built and how they shaped the institutions we inherit today. This video is for educational and informational purposes only and is not financial advice. Always do your own research.